Okay, so now we've got a piano part, and this will be some instrumental part. Let's say it's, I don't know, be nice for oboe or flute or something like that, even clarinet. And now we know what the harmony is, so let's just start putting in some kind of, harmonization. Oops. We start right there. Keep this. Before, when we were doing four-part writing, it was all about making this sonorous, voicing it so it's sonorous. But remember that having things that don't unify so well is good, because then we can have distinct things. So leaving this sort of here and putting this up on the top makes them distinct from each other. So we've got that. And now we just do, basic voice leading. Like that. This is just an arpeggiation, so let's actually turn it into a seventh chord so that we can keep the G on the top. Like that. I'll change my analysis. You want to use, if you originally write down say that something's a triad and then you want to turn it into a seventh chord like here, it's completely fine as long as it works harmonically. And then we need to revoice this because this third is now in the bass. Let's use our kind of common voicing for a first inversion chord like this. And one thing I want to point out is look how bad the voice leading is from here to here. That's completely fine. And actually, we may be wanting to revoice some of these chords, and then we'll get non-smooth voice leading. That's actually, within reason, it's fine. Because remember, this is piano writing. This isn't vocal writing. And it's not going to end up homophony. So, it's not going to end up homorhythmic homophony. So we don't have to follow all the rules of homorhythmic homophony. One thing that I think sometimes confuses students is they feel that all these voice leading rules that they learn when they do chorale writing are somehow transferred to the whole of, every genre and every instrumentation in classical music. And it's simply not true. Those rules are good guidelines for things other than vocal writing, but those rules are really only completely applicable in homorhythmic, homophonic vocal writing. So here we're going to sort of do some bad voice leading, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. And then we'll get 1-6-4, I guess, we'll do this. And then that. And then, whoops, something like that. Okay, now we need to do what we did with accompaniment before, right? So let's change this so that it's not this rhythmic homophonic stuff, but instead it's got some texture, some kind of accompaniment pattern to it. And I want to do something really simple. If you want to do something complicated, that's fine. You want to add in lots of non-chord tones and everything, as long as it sounds stylistically appropriate, fine. I'm going to do something really easy. In part because doing something easier lets me demonstrate the point that I want to make in less time. But also to show that, the easy thing isn't stylistically bad. It's just, actually a lot of these textures were very simple textures. So let's just do this. And one thing, and this is piano, right? So I want to write a bit more like it's for piano. And I'll use octaves in the bass. And we'll just leave it at that. Right hand, Um, again, something very simple. Whoops. This. Okay, and this is going to take a while, so let me actually go, all I'm going to do is go through and apply this. You don't need to sit around and watch me do that. So let me do that now, and then I'll splice in to the video again once it's all completed, and then we'll take a listen to it. Okay, so I've applied this rhythmic pattern to the entire keyboard accompaniment. And now, actually, maybe I should throw in some dynamics. Oh, yeah, put that down there. Actually, this would be normally mezzo forte as well, but actually if I put this in, then Sibelius plays nicely, so, or more nicely. Good, let's take a listen to this to see how far we've come. Okay, so when I listen to this, I think it's okay, but there are a couple of little shifts that I want to make. First, I don't like this. I think it would be nicer if this was not a passing tone, but instead an anticipation. I don't like this voicing, actually. And it makes the voice leading here a little bit weird, but I actually think it sounds better. So I'm going to do the same here. Okay, this is all fine for me. And then I want this to be a bit fuller. So what I'm going to do is do that, and then I'm going to do the same thing here. And we got that. So let's listen one more time. These are small changes, but now I'm making decisions about how this thing sounds and how I'd like it to sound. So as you can see, this is really a process of trial and error. And you try something, you listen to it, it gives you feedback, you respond to that, and you make adjustments and improvements. The last little bit that I want to do is an extension. And I want to show you what composers often do to get new material. We've seen that, okay, so if we go back to the top here, where did this come from? This came from just a little bit of elaboration. It seemed to be the kind of, have the kind of quality to set the character. And then we just reapply it here. We use this quote-unquote rule of two to change. Here we get something, and we get something, we have a repetition of that. Again, following the rule of two, we move on to something else. And then we get this, which sets us up for the cadence. Here we get a lot more energy. And notice that by the way, in the two voice counterpoint, this was the climax, and it's no longer the climax. Now our melodic climax is here. And there's a very clear climax. And that's something important to consider when you write these melodies. A phrase should, in general, have a climax. So we have that here. A climax can be a highest note, usually. It can also be a lowest note. But this little figure here, well, we've seen it before. We've seen it here. And we've seen it here. And I want to bring it back. Because I want to get a little more mileage, so to speak. I mean, one thing is we should use our material efficiently, I guess, and get as much as we can out of it. And this is a little bit of a trick, just like the deceptive cadence is a trick to get a little bit more music. You saw when we added the deceptive cadence to the Schumann period form that it got us an extra 2 bars. Okay, that's good. So let's try to use this melody. We're not done just yet. We want to add a little extension to this. We want to repeat this maybe 2 times. Let's see. Well, let's add a kind of 1-5-1 figure. You often find this. Everything that happens after here is an extension. We get a perfect authentic cadence here, but we can extend beyond that.